Let's see how to use the cast and meld functions included in the reshape package in order to change the structure of our data. Essentially, this package will allow us to translate data that comes in a wide format into a long format and vice versa. So what's a wide format and a long format? Essentially, in a wide format, we will have the repeated responses for a subject in different columns. And in the long format, we will have them as rows. So let's see an example. Let's execute this. I will be creating a data frame. Here I have two different people, Mike and Bob. Then I have a country where they visited. And then I have the amount of US dollars that each one of them spent in each country. So this is clearly in a long format, because I have the replications for every subject, let's say Mike, and then Bob and Bob. And these replications are in rows. Now, I might want to change this. So let's see how we can change this table. So I will be requiring the reshape package. If you don't have it, go ahead and install it. An important element here is that we have the reshape package and the reshape 2 package. Both of them are very, very similar, except that reshape 2 is an enhanced version of reshape. It's much faster, and it has a couple of extra capabilities. So by using the reshape package, we should be able to do practically everything that we might want to need when translating data into the wide format from the long format and vice versa. So I'll be first using the cast function. So let's see what this function does. This function requires first, obviously, a data frame, and then it requires an expression written like this and a value. So let's see what this does. You can see that this changed a lot. Now I only have one observation for Bob and one for Mike. And then the columns that I have are these ones, the ones that I used in country, so the ones here. And then the amount of money spent does not appear as rows, but it appears correspondingly in each cell according to the country and Bob combination. So you can think these combinations determine what's the value that will be included here. So obviously I could have done a different thing. Instead of using this, I could have done the other way around. And in this case, because I only changed the order here of this expression, I ended up with France and the UK as countries in the first column, and then Bob and Mike as different columns here. So this is good. Let's see something a little different here. Let's see the meld function. So the meld function will do quite the opposite. So far, we have used the cast function to translate a long format into a wide format. And now the meld function will allow us to transform a wide format into a long format. So here we have a very similar parameters. We need to specify a data frame. You can see that I'm using the one that I changed. So I will be using this one, country and person. And I will be transposing it in order to get the original data frame. So let's see how that goes. You can see that an interesting point here is that I'm telling R which is the combinations that determine the IDs. So if I run this part, you can see that I return to my original data frame where I have a country and person combination here, and I have a value. And obviously I have 4 rows instead of 2. That's super important. Obviously the index here was not properly filled, but that's something that I can fix very easily. So now this is pretty much what I had at the beginning, except that the order of the columns is different, but you can change them operating on the data frame. So we saw how to use the cast and melt functions in order to revert or to cancel the transformation that we do with the other one. So if we use the cast function and then we use the melt one, we can cancel that transformation, and the other way around. So this will happen a lot, because especially in many situations we will receive data in the long format, and for many reasons we would like to transform it into the wide format. I think that one of the most important reasons for that is that when we are doing modeling or building a statistical model or a machine learning model in R or in any programming language, we need the observations to represent single instances or single observations, and the columns to represent variables. So if I was building some sort of model here, for example this one, it would be, and let's say I'm working on a model to predict something, and I want one observation for Bob, one for Mike, and so on. I need the columns to be variables and the rows to be observations. They should be unique. For example, here I would be, this is not exactly what I would want. I would have 2 observations for Mike, 2 for Bob, and this is not what I want. So final thing here, let's see a more elaborate and more complicated example. So in this case we have something a little more difficult. We have one observation for Mike, France, and a value, but then we have the same thing for the next 3 observations, but then again we have Mike, France, and another value, and then we have Mike, UK, and the same thing. So we have 2 observations per ID, so that's something not good, I guess. This is something that appears rarely, but it does appear, so you need to know how to fix it. So if I wanted to translate this long format into a wide format, I would be in some sort of trouble. And the reason is that because the IDs are duplicated, I wouldn't be able to, to build something like this or like this. Because the value here that will correspond to any cell, to any one of these 4 cells, won't be unique. So R won't know very well what to put inside each one of these cases. So these are cases where we are reshaping the data. We'll use the cast function from the reshape package, or the reshape2 package if you want, any of them. But in this case I'm using a reshape, obviously, but I need to somehow aggregate this data in order to achieve that format. So there are several ways. Obviously in the aggregation I lose something, I lose information, I am compressing information when I am aggregating. So one way could be to do this. So I am getting the exact same format where I have a unique ID. I have Bob and Mike, you can see that they appear just once, and I have France and the UK, and then I have the mean of every Bob-France combination here. So this 4226 is Bob and France, so this average plus this average. And the same for the other cells.